Okay, welcome back, dear students. So this is a value of the rotor resistance we can observe, and from this we can let me write down the minimum value that can be obtained and what is the maximum value. So from the varying the delta, we can get the variable this rotor resistance value, right? So as delta is going to have the range from the 0 to 1, so from that we can find out this R effective minimum and R effective maximum. R effective minimum can be write as, see, if we substitute the delta, now tell me, see, if I increase the delta value, if I increase the delta value, what about this 1 minus delta? This value is going to be decreases. So total value is going to be what? Decreases, right? So if I decrease the delta value, this 1 minus delta value is going to be increases, so that the total value is going to be increases. So if we increase in the delta, the value is decreasing. By decreasing the delta, the value is increasing. So if I make delta equals 1, where ranging is what? Delta equals to 1 to 0, 0 to 1. So if you make delta equals to 1, what about 1 minus 1? Is going to be 0. So we can say the minimum value of the effective resistance is equals to what? The rotor resistance only. That is, we're not inserting any resistance. It is at what? At delta equals to 1. So we make delta equals 1. So there is no change in the rotor resistance. It's same like the its actual resistance only, right? So if I want to know the maximum value of rotor resistance, what about here? We have to keep delta equals 0. Then you're going to get it is R2 plus 0.5 times of R external. Okay. So these are the maximum value at delta equals to 0. We can observe this at delta equals to 0, right? So these are the inserting rotor resistance. And what about the speed torque characteristics that we already seen from this conventional method only? So this we can observe here again. We can observe this here again. Now, what observation we can done here from this graph, from this observation? Let me show you one observation here. So for example, if I having the constant torque load, for example, we are having a constant torque load. So for that load, let me have some torque value. Oh, this is my torque value. So this is a my torque, load torque. This is a load torque, this pink color, load torque. Now you can observe for R2 resistance, you are having speed. Some let me make it is a omega m1, and if you increase the R2 dash, the speed is going to be what? Decreases. Again, if you increase R2, the speed is again decreasing. So for constant load torque drives, if you increase the rotor resistance, whatever speed we can observe, speed is going to be decreases, right? So like that, we're going to use this type of rotor resistance control in the constant load torque applications. So after that, let us go for the this closed loop control of induction motor by means of the static rotor resistance control. Let's discuss. So why we need to go for the closed loop control always? Anybody could post your answer. So why we need to go for the closed loop control for anything, not only for this type of control. In general, in practical, why we need to go for the closed loop control? Could you post your answer in the chat box? Let me know your knowledge, accuracy. That's it. I will tell you one example for closed loop and open loop. desired output. Okay, well done. So in simple manner, so in one word answer I can say a closed loop to get the desired output only. For one word, if I want to say one word answer to get the desired output only. For example, so if you observe the daily application of your fan, just take your fan. So everyone is using fan in at your homes. That is, if you're not having any regulator, if you're not having any regulator, so you're having only switch connection. That is, you can on the fan or you can off the fan. That is, what happens then? Then there is no controlling of speed. So whatever the speed is there, the fan is going to run with the that's constant speed only, right? That is, there is no controlling. There is no feedback between the fan and the switch, right? So that is the called open loop configuration. So if you are using a regulator, if you're using a regulator between the switch and fan, then you can vary the speed of the fan. That is, if you want to feel, if you want to get the speed of the fan, you can increase the speed of the fan, you can decrease speed of the fan according to the your environment, right? So that is, you can get the required speed, you can get the desired speed. So whatever the speed you want. Well, for that case, we are going for the closed loop control to get the desired output only, right? I hope you got this example. So here we'll go this closed loop control with static rotor constraint. So to control the duty cycle of the chopper, to control the duty cycle of the chopper, as we are controlling the duty cycle, we can control the what? The effective resistance, right? So that is what is that value? R effective resistance is equals to what you observed. Rotor resistance phase, the effective resistance per phase seen from the rotor side 0.5 times of 1 minus delta times of R external. Okay. Now let me draw this closed loop control with static rotor resistance control diagram. So as we are having the rotor and stator parts of induction motor, it's a rotor circuit and this is a stator, so which is being fed from the three-phase AC supply, and we are using one uncontrolled rectifier here. We are using one uncontrolled rectifier. I am not drawing entire circuit diagram. I am just representing with one box with a diode. It means it is a uncontrolled rectifier diagram. Uncontrolled rectifier, which is being connected to the resistance circuit through a inductor to make the ID current ripple free. We are using the inductor here. This is the external resistance to be added or external. So our external value, and here we are going to use a power semiconductor switch as a chopper. Okay, so now how we are going to control this three-phase induction motor by closed loop? Nothing but we need a sensor between the open loop output and what? Output and input. We need a sensor. That is, so we need a speed sensor here. We need a speed sensor. Speed sensor. This is a speed sensor. Speed sensor. So which will sense the speed. For example, we are sensing a speed of omega m. The speed is omega m, and this will be compared with the our reference speed. This will be compared with the reference speed. As the whatever the application you are using, that reference speed omega m star is the reference speed, and here we are going to get error. So here speed error, This will be given to the PI controller, and output of the PI controller will be given to the a current limiter to limit the output, this output. As you are using integrator, so we need to need a current limiter here. We need a current limiter. Now you can observe, now tell me, so as you are varying the ID value, as you are varying the current value, so by that current varying current, can we control the torque? So we can also control the torque by means of what? Current control, right? So we are using current limiter. Now after that, the output of this current limiter will be given to this is ID star will be compared with this current, this ID current. This will be compared with ID current. Okay. So this is the error in current, which will be given to one more PI controller, and this current is going to be used for the to drive the base circuit, base driver, that is to trigger the switch, to trigger the switch, base driver circuit. Base driver, this will be given to the base of the power semiconductor switch. Okay, that means here the delta of the chopper is being controlled by means of this strategy. So this entire thing is speed control. So this is a speed controller, PI controller. This is the current control. PI2 is the current controller. PI1 is the speed controller here. So what we are doing here, we are sensing the speed of the motor, and that will be compared with the reference speed. So after that, we are getting the error in the speed, right? So that will be given to the speed controller, or we are using here PI controller. So from that, we are going to get the current parameter, current limiter, and this current ID star is going to be compared with this ID value. So this is what? This is ID current. So this is ID current. Compare with the ID current, and if there is any difference between the ID star and ID, that will be given to the current controller. So after that, this current will be whatever current is came out from this current controller will be given to the base drive, which is used to drive the switch, power semiconductor switch. Okay. So this is the things regarding the closed loop speed control of the induction motor by means of the static rotor resistance control. So with this, we can get the smooth variation of the resistance, and also we can get simplicity in operation using closed loop control. So this is one of the methods we have seen. So still we are going to have two more methods are there. That is a static scare-based drive and also static ramp-based drive. So those will be discussed in the coming lectures, next lectures. So as we are done with today's time, I would like to conclude today's session. So if you are having any doubts, you can stay back. Otherwise, you can leave the meeting.